Like basically when it comes to feeling accomplished with something, and this is great for this episode, there are two things that can fill that space. One is action and one is planning, right? So you could have an idea and a belief that you want to do something, but you can spend all the time planning to execute it and still feel accomplished, but you actually never did anything.
No.
But you feel like, ooh, I'm getting closer to it. I'll create a plan. Like, yeah, we really moving. And so many people stay in that planning phase thinking that they're actually progressing towards doing the thing that they want to do when they actually never took any action at all. Right. So it's like, all right, you create a plan, you manifest, this is what I want to do. But in order for you to get there, it's really going to be the action. That's what you need to fill most of your feeling of accomplishment with, is actually doing the thing that you're trying to do, not just planning, not just talking about it. Because if you have an idea, I want to do this, and then you say, hey friend, can we go to dinner? I want to talk to you about this thing I got in my head. And you do that, and then you write it down, and then you create like a deck on what you're going to do. You really feel like you did something.
For sure.
Like, ooh, yeah, I was. Yeah. But you didn't actually do nothing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to.
You made the plan.
You made the plan.
That's it.
But so many people stay in that phase of making the plan, and it's paralyzing for a lot of people, to where it's like you'll plan and then you'll gain new information from reading, right, or something like that. Then you want to adjust your plan again, and then you learn something else, and then you adjust your plan again, and you keep planning as you're learning and planning as you're learning, instead of acting and learning and acting and learning and optimizing your action. Hey guys, welcome back to
Real Love Scenario.
Whoa. Shout out to all our real lovers out there. Welcome back to the show.
Hi guys.
Dre and Rhonda.
Yeah, it's Rhonda.
Y'all might not have seen us for a while.
That's true. That's true.
But we are here, and make sure if you love the show, you like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. Join the Real Lover Gang. It's free to you, but means a lot to us.
And this also may be their first time seeing us.
Maybe.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well.
That's my friend Dre. I'm Rhonda.
That's my friend Rhonda.
We hang out on this thing sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
How are you doing, Rhonda?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Blessed and highly favored.
Amen. Blessed and highly favored. Amen. Oh, hallelujah. Is it an episode of We Don't Sing?
I don't think so.
It's not an episode of We Don't Sing.
It's not.
No.
So what are we going to dive into today, Rhonda?
Ooh, it's a new year, and that usually means like new year, new you, new energy, new all the stuff. And I kind of like don't love the idea of New Year's resolutions, but I do like the idea of they ain't do nothing to me. I just sometimes there's a lot of pressure.
Okay.
You just like, I want to do this year. It just feels like a lot of pressure. And there's nothing wrong with having goals.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I think the best way to get there is to be intentional about what you do to get to those goals.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. In relationship form. So yeah.
Let's do it.
New year, new you. In love. I'm single. Still crazy. And Dre's married. So we're gonna talk about some goals in both arenas.
Okay.
Some intentions in both arenas.
I'm excited.
Do you love New Year's resolutions? Is that a thing?
Not really anymore.
What
but
they do
I
to
do
you?
believe in points of reset. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like it's a lot easier to start things over at the beginning of the week, or saying this month, or, at the beginning of this year. It's just a mental thing with people and humans in general. Do you experience that as well?
Yes.
Like having reset points? Absolutely.
And I found a really good guide for 2026 for myself. I think she's done it for a couple of years, but I'm using Mel Robbins' approach to 2026. I already am totally into it because it requires reflection before reset.
Okay. Like
actually look back at what happened this year before you start talking about what you're trying to do next year. So I'm already into that. So yeah, I do. It's a great time to reset. It's the end of the year. Most of us run off the calendar. Yeah, so I'm into it. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Same.
It's going to be interesting at certain points. Like, damn, you really was doing that last March. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's renewed energy. And I definitely, love is always going to be on the list. for me. And I'm sure it's on the list for a lot of you. Even if you have love, what's wrong with having something stronger, more meaningful, reaching a goal, letting go of something that you probably need to stop doing in a relationship? It's just a good time to reset. So we gonna jump into some goals for ourselves.
Okay.
Listen, I just think like this, Dre. Before I get started, right? I just don't want anybody being too hard on themselves about your station in relationship.
Okay.
And I'm talking to my single folks. Yo, I get it. We touching and agreeing. We holding each other's hands. If you want it, I want you to still want it, but I don't want you to be too hard on yourself that like you need to completely redirect and rechange and change anything and everything that you did. Because while that might be true, you still have to just keep your heart open and flexible to let it find you and not have to go after this massive conquest, right? That's why I don't like the idea of resolutions, because they feel like a conquest instead of a relatively strategic guide into how to get something. And sometimes getting something is just having your hand open to get it. It's it. Sometimes that's all you actually have to do is just put your hand out to catch it, right?
Yeah.
It's not always like, okay, I got to stand like this and I get this left arm like super strong and I just got to practice a few times, like put the hand out, like put it, like you just start overworking a thing. And so I do find that sometimes the singles, I'm gonna put myself out there with y'all, we overwork a thing. Like we just,
especially when you've been successful in other elements of your life and you're trying to create that balance or put all the pieces of the puzzle together and you're like, hey, it's just one last piece. So if it's just this one last piece, then I need to put a lot of effort and energy into create this piece and making it fit for me to have this complete picture of what I imagine for my life.
That's it.
But that's a lot of pressure that comes with that too.
Yeah, it is. And that's the whole warning here. Like we want to relieve some of the pressure and just be a lot more gentle about finding something that is very serious, that is very meaningful. But sometimes, you can hold something so tight that you harm it. It doesn't bring about anything good because you're kind of strangling the process.
Yeah.
So that's my disclaimer before we really get into it. The first thing is just relieve some of the pressure from yourself. So Dre, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
Let's talk about like when we look back, is there something that you feel like in love or in marriage is a lesson that you had to repeat and you don't want to have to repeat it again? Like, is there something that you can think of where you're like, this got to be the last year of that. I got to figure out how to not do that again.
Oh man, that's a good question. There are things so I don't even want to put that pressure on myself.
Okay. All right.
Because
look at me, I'm putting pressure on him after I just told you no pressure.
This is wisdom, right? And I put that pressure on myself because there are things I think as people we naturally default back to. Mm-hmm. And depending on how we were raised, the things that's ingrained in us, we default back to those. And a lot of times we bring those actions into a relationship and you have to train yourself not to do those things anymore. Yeah. And even if you've gotten on the right track, the thing that we always have to learn and understand is that you have to hold yourself accountable every day, right? And that's why you said that reflection part is so important whenever you're going on a journey of improving yourself, because that is an accountability tool. Mm-hmm. Some people walk throughout life and do certain things without really reflecting or taking account of what actually happened, right? And that's a way just to hold you accountable to making sure you're committing to the things that you want to commit to, whether in a marriage, whether in a friendship, whether in business. So that's one thing I've done is at the end of the day, just review the day. Like, and if you make it an effort to say at the end of each day, I have to review my day, then going into that morning and to start the rest of your day that there's going to be a score at the end somewhat, whether mentally or physically, to say like, how did you measure up to the goals and things that you wanted to achieve? So it's not necessarily about, there's a lot of things I don't want to do anymore, but I want to make sure I'm being conscious and understanding that it's daily work to not do it, right? It's not just like at the end of the year, I haven't done it for the past 3 months, so I'm not going to do it anymore. It's that if I don't want to do this anymore, I need to continue doing the things that help me accountable and reminded me why I shouldn't be doing these things anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's so good. Jesus, that's so good. That's really, I hate to say ditto. But when I think about what I've repeated that I really want to stop repeating, it is losing sight of the fact that anything that I really, really want, it requires, if not daily work, very regular work. Like it has to be very consistent. So if I say I want this thing, I cannot sit around and just think it's going to come to me. I have to put some work in for it. Like I have to, again, it could be daily work. Like if you think about fitness and health, like you may not work out every day, but every single day there has to be some sort of effort towards being healthier and more fit, which 3 or 4 days could be the gym. 2 or 3 days are more nutrition focused. Even if you have a bad breakfast or like you splurge for lunch, you know that still within that 24-hour day, there's a better decision you can make. You made your little one for lunch. Don't go crazy. So it's like the same thing with love. Like anything that I really want to get better at, I just need to be a lot more intentional about it. So specifically, just to drill it down to one thing for me, is just going outside. Like actually having an more active social life. Because yes, I do enjoy being home. I love my couch. It's really nice.
And you have to accept that there are going to be some dead missions in there because it's so funny. I was out maybe a week or two ago and I ran to one of our good friends, Neza.
Oh, hey, Neza.
And I was at the park in DC, and first it was hilarious because like I'm sitting there looking with one of my friends, and I'm like, "Yo, it is some tall people in here," and it was one of those tall people meetups there, and I was telling you like women like 6'6", 6'7",
wow,
and all that. And I ended up talking to her, and she was like, "Yeah, I was sitting at home," and I was like, "You know what? I preach all this stuff on social media." And I'm like, "No, get out there, go out and try to meet some people." And she was like, "It is no men in here at all." But I was like, "I witnessed you. I saw you." I was like, "Keep the faith, keep trying." Right. And it's like, you doing it. Right. But you got to understand, there's also going to be some
for sure
times in there to where it may not be worth it at all.
It may not be.
Don't let that discourage you.
Don't. And you know what's funny about that type of thing, that exact thing, like this just popped in my head. Okay, fine, nobody there. But what ended up happening is like, one, you push yourself out of the house, which required you to be present in an environment where if you were home, that could have allowed you to have lingering thoughts. That could have allowed you to be like, "Oh, I wish," things that happen to people when they're single and having those like hits of loneliness.
Yeah.
And what could also happen is like you look extra good and you were out and you probably took either a really cute selfie or you got someone, maybe you went with a friend and they took this fire picture of you and you posted that. You see, your boo could be on the end of the post, babe. Maybe they weren't at the event, but if you didn't go out that night and get that picture to post, your DM might not have got slid in. So there's always, a possibility. And more than anything, for those of us who are very much like, let's not center relationships. Fine. You got a good dopamine hit for yourself. Who doesn't want to look pretty and go out and like smell good or feel good or eat something good or have a beautiful drink? Who doesn't want that? So you kind of check all of the boxes in a roundabout way. Some box still gets checked, even if it's just the I needed to feel good about myself box. And that relationship is the primary one anyway, the one you have with yourself. So I'm glad you went on out, Neza. I'm going outside. I am going outside. Now the work on that, the daily work, to your point, to tie into that, is really sitting down and looking at my calendar, figuring out which days I have room to hit a happy hour, or getting on the internet and finding events such as meetups or whatever. And some of this stuff is just to find friends, find connection in that way, maybe even network about the pod. It's not all with the intention of dating, because again, that's strangling the process, right? You're like, I'm going out 3 days a week, and every night I go out, I got to meet 2 guys. I got to get 3 numbers. Like that's you're strangling it now. Just keep your hands open to, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to have more fun. And so that's what I'm going to do, because what's going to end up happening when I do meet my husband, we inside, baby. We could go outside, but I'm definitely going to be happy to be inside because we got stuff to catch up on. We got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah. One thing that you mentioned that I've learned when it comes to keeping to the things you want to keep to is the triggers that allow those things to happen are the most important parts, not necessarily just the action. So for instance, one thing that I always want to do is making sure I reset the room, right? Yeah. Clean up my space after, so that every time I wake up, I'm going into a space that's already clean, and there's so many mental benefits to that, right? But I had to realize that, if I don't shut down my day around like 9:30 when I still have energy, then that's when everything gets like a mess. I throw stuff on the floor instead of hanging it up. I don't feel like cleaning up after myself. I want to go straight into the bed. Yeah. So it's like understanding that first, like there's so many things that I wanted to do in my life. And I had to first realize that it starts with winning the morning, right? But then in order to win the morning, you got to win the night and go to bed at a decent time to have the energy to wake up at the time you want to wake up in the morning and do all those things. So I had to realize
back into the goal.
Right? Yes. So then it's like I had to realize that it's not just about setting the goal and thinking you can just achieve the goal however you want to achieve it. You have to understand like what are the things, the triggers that allow you to accomplish that goal or don't allow you to accomplish that goal. Like what are the things if you're talking about going out, what are the times where you don't feel like going out? What are the times to where you do feel like going out? Maybe it's always keeping a regular hair appointment at Friday morning or something like that. So like when you get that hair done, you look good and you want everybody to see you, right?
You follow me on IG, I just told you it's nothing wrong with you, baby. You just need your hair done. Go get your hair done.
So that might be a trigger to be like, if I want to get out more, I know I need to schedule this at this time, because when that thing get done, I'm like, okay, I need somebody to see
see it.
Like somebody got to see it. Like all these things work in order to help us, achieve our goals.
So true. It's so true. And it really is about breaking like bad patterns, right? Like we can get into this habit of, raising my hand for sure, get into this habit of like, and this might be controversial, but I'm going to go there. I think manifesting is a beautiful thing. To me, it's simply about believing and using words to express your beliefs. That's to me all that manifesting is. You believe that something is going to happen for you and you simply say it. Like, I want to be wealthy. I want to be more world traveled. I want to, right? You want those things. So then you manifest it by finding affirmations that tie to that. Beautiful. But the controversial part is that I feel like faith without works is dead, right? That's literally what the Bible says, but that scripture works just as a statement, as a parable. Manifesting is great, but work is still required. You usually do have to put your foot forward into the direction of the thing that you're claiming over your life. So patterns such as, I'm just going to see what happens, or I've set I've manifested. Yeah, it's just gonna come. It's like,
it's funny that you're talking about that, because I'm more of a pragmatic person, right? Very practical when it comes to my way of thinking, and I don't like to, even with my relationship with God, like I don't necessarily deal in the magical feeling of things, right? Yeah. And what people say, and manifesting to me always felt like magical. Yes. Like I say it
will come,
and it happens, and it's like, it's not how life really works. Like you said, faith without works is dead. But also when I look, even in a business standpoint, you don't become well renowned for what you do, promoted in your job, an expert in your field by just saying things.
By just saying you'll be all those things.
A vision, right?
Yes.
Everything, and especially in the business world, for those who don't know, if you're looking to get promoted, all these things, everything comes down to the ability to execute. Right. And that's in action. Like you have to do the things that it takes in order to achieve a goal. You could say it all that you want, but it's really the actions that are the result is the manifestation of the actions.
That's right.
Not the manifestation of the words.
Of just the belief itself. Yeah. That's it. So that's another pattern that I'm encouraging you. We're encouraging you to like just leave that behind. If that's your thing, there is beauty in believing in things will happen for you, truly, but you have to be in the place for them to even happen for you. Like, you have to get into the spirit, into the energy, into the whatever it is in order for it to happen for you.
Yeah, and you actually have to do it.
Yes.
Like, do it. Like, literally, I was reading a book, Ego's Enemy by Ryan Holiday, who's become one of my favorite authors. I'm reading Discipline is Destiny now. Check both of those out. Really good books. But he was talking about how a lot of us, like, basically when it comes to feeling accomplished with something, and this is great for this episode, there are two things that can fill that space. One is action and one is planning, right? So you could have an idea and a belief that you want to do something, but you can spend all the time planning to execute it and still feel accomplished, but you actually never did anything.
No.
But you feel like, ooh, I'm getting closer to it. I'll create a plan. Like, yeah, we really moving. And so many people stay in that planning phase thinking that they're actually progressing towards doing the thing that they want to do when they actually never took any action at all. Right. So it's like, all right, you create a plan, you manifest, this is what I want to do. But in order for you to get there, it's really going to be the action. That's what you need to fill most of your feeling of accomplishment with, is actually doing the thing that you're trying to do, not just planning, not just talking about it. Because if you have an idea, I want to do this, and then you say, hey, friend, can we go to dinner? I want to talk to you about this thing I got in my head. And you do that, and then you write it down, and then you create like a deck on what you're going to do. You really feel like you did something.
For sure.
Like, whoo, yeah, I was. Yeah. But you didn't actually do nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, you have to.
You made the plan.
You made the plan.
That's it.
But so many people stay in that phase of making the plan, and it's paralyzing for a lot of people, to where it's like, you'll plan and then you'll gain new information from reading, right, or something like that. Then you want to adjust your plan again, and then you learn something else, and then you adjust your plan again, and you keep planning as you're learning and planning as you're learning, instead of acting and learning and acting and learning and optimizing your action.
That's right. And this happens, like, this is, I think, so clearly seen when we're talking about like business, but this 1000% happens in love and dating and relationships. Like, I'm going to be married, right? I'm going to be a wife this year. Okay. Great. And you're going to therapy, right? This is all part of your plan. You're going to therapy, you're working out, you're doing all this stuff, right? Because it's like, I'm going to look good in my dress. I'm going to be able to have conversations with him. But never do you actually enter into environments where you can run into him so he can have a conversation with you to see how the therapy's been going, or see your body that you've been working on looking great in a dress or whatever. Like, you're not. So it's like, you're doing all of this, and that's great. That stuff is necessary.
But one date in 8 months, like, you're not.
You're not doing nothing, right? Like, you're doing something, which is great, but you're not doing anything. And that, anytime we really, really want something, what we're saying, and Dre is so good at this, is like, you have to hold yourself accountable to it. You are a part of whatever is happening, always. If it's happening for the good, we love taking credit for that. Oh yeah, I was involved in that because it went well. And you're like, yeah, I did that. But when it goes wrong, it's like, no, it's their fault. It's they're doing it. It's that job. It's men are dumb. It's women are this. It's everybody else's thing. It's nothing that you're doing. There's always something that we could be doing to shift and adjust and getting to the habit of doing the work to get the things that we want, not just professing this is what we want. So for sure, that's probably my biggest one, is like, baby, you got the plan. Okay, you got the plan. You need to get your ass up. You need to get your ass up. You get your ass up and get your ass in them environments. Like, it's really just that simple. It's really that simple. And in business, and in business. We're focusing on love today, and in business. So I'm just going to jump into some of the things for the singles. Just, these are some recommendations, okay? But I think you should take them because we kind of know what we're talking about. Date with clarity, right? And not urgency. Why, Dre?
When you move urgently, you tend to miss things.
Yes.
You tend to make mistakes.
Yes.
And the one thing that I've learned in my 32 years of life, entering the 33rd year of life next year, or this year currently, is that most things aren't an emergency. Like, we make them feel like they're urgent and emergencies and things have to be solved right now. But the reality is a lot of things aren't.
Yeah,
most things are not emergencies. And then a lot of times the solution that you're looking for isn't something that can be done in a short amount of time anyways.
Yes.
It's a compounding solution that's built over time and time and time and time of doing something a particular way for a certain period.
Yeah.
So there's not urgency in the solution and there's typically not urgency in the problem.
Yes. Just like that. And the clarity part, again, being honest, because it's a new year and we're resetting, we're reflecting and we're resetting. I want you to find a friend. Find a friend. Don't do this by yourself. Find a friend. And I want you all to ask each other what you want out of love. For this, again, for my singles, what you want out of love and what you can provide to that love when you have it. If you fumble through that question the first time, fine. The goal is to get to be able to answer that question with ease and clarity. Because if you can say something with ease, you're clear about it. You ask me right now, what's my name? I don't have to think about that. I don't have to stutter step. I'm clear about that. I know what that is. It's been my name for 42 years, almost 43 years. Damn, right? But you've got to be clear about it, because when you go out and you start interacting with people, those two things are really important. Obviously, what you want, because it informs what you say, it informs where you spend time, it informs the questions you're going to ask, it informs your decisions. But you also have to be prepared to help them answer that for themselves about you. So I would say most people can tell you what they want. Maybe not most. Half of you can clearly say what you want. But most of you cannot say that once I have that, here's what I'll give to it. Most of you can't do that. I would go out on a limb and say that. So be clear about that, because once you're clear about those two things, you can date. Just I know it's going to happen. It's fine. I'm not in a rush. I'm not losing any sleep about it. It's going to be okay, because I'm not in a rush for just something. I'm in a rush. I want what is I'm clear about.
Yeah.
If that takes time, then fine.
I agree with you. And it reminds me of school. Well, this is how I want people to think about it. So with every what question you answer, just show your work. Because the showing your work is the why. So whatever what you want. So if you like, I want to work at this place. Okay, that's the answer to what you want to do. But then show your work. Yeah. Showing your work is
why do you want that? Yeah.
Right? Because that's going to be important for you to understand the context around it. Because a lot of things we realize we want, when we start to dig into the why, then it could even change our thought process on why we want that thing.
Right. Are you just saying that because that's what everybody else is saying? Because your mom told you that? Because your dad, is that really about you?
Yeah, it reminds me of that story. I forgot where I heard it, and I think I said on this podcast before, where the husband was doing something. He was cooking, I think, a ham, and the wife was like, "You can't cook it like that. You need to cut it in half." He was like, "Why you got to cut it in half?" She was like, "That's what we always did. That's what my mom told me to do. You got to cut the ham in half." So then he called the mom, and the mom was like, "That's always what my mom did. You just cut it in half. Right. And that's how you cook ham." Like, what do you mean? That's how you cook it. So then luckily the grandmother was around. So he called the grandmother and said, "Why do you cut the ham in half? Everybody says they do it and that's how you're supposed to do it." She was like, "Oh yeah, back then the ovens weren't big enough to put the whole ham in. So we had to cut it in half in order to cook it." So you believe this thing and you've been operating it for decades, right? Generations of believing that this is just how you do the thing and what you want to do when you're cooking ham. But then once you start to develop and understand and investigate why you're actually doing it, then you might realize that even if it was right during that moment, that in this day and time, this might not be the way to go about it. So it's like, you have to investigate and show your work and understand how you got, because that's what it was all about in math, right? The teacher was like, "I know you can get the answer. You can get a calculator. You can look at the back of the book when it was only the odd numbers that was in there, but the even numbers, for whatever reason, they had the answers in the back of the book. But I can see the solution, but I need for me to understand that how to do this and understand this method of doing math. I need you to show your work. Show me how you got to this answer. And then I can better help you too, because if I know how you got there, then I can see like, oh, yeah, that doesn't make it, that doesn't apply in this type of problem, or this doesn't apply for your type of situation. But if you're just giving blanket answers, which you see a lot on the internet, all advice, no context a lot of times, right? Then it's like, oh, the what is the thing? I need somebody who has this. I need somebody who look like that. I need somebody who do this. But they ain't breaking down to you sometimes like why they're choosing to do that, or why they believe that's the best answer. So show your work.
Show your work. Oh, that was good. That was good. Okay, next one. Vetting for alignment and not attraction. Yo, I mean, something should seem like a no-brainer, but I know that this is a broad audience, and we have people that listen and support us that are 18, that are 21, that aren't 40 something, that aren't 30 something, that aren't in a point in their life where they've matured and they've understood that there's so much more to partnership, like working healthy partnership, than you cute, you look good. You look good. Now, we both very much agree that you should have a partner you're attracted to.
Yes.
It's just not, I don't even know how y'all can make that work. You have to be attracted to the person. But having a beautiful person that doesn't align with you fundamentally, spiritually, is not goal-oriented, or doesn't want to be a nomad and go and whatever the things are that speak to your heart, them being attractive is not going to be enough. It's just never going to be enough.
So I have a challenge for people looking for love in 2026.
We love a challenge.
You love a challenge? Whenever you are looking for the person that you want to be with from a dating perspective, or you're searching for the love of your life or whoever that may be, and you're trying to figure out the things that you want in that person, I challenge everybody in 2026 who's single and in this moment, in this time, and have this desire to not ever mention appearance when you are talking about trying to find the person that you're looking to get. You know why? Because your eyes take care of that for you.
They're there.
You don't have to say what you prefer from a look standpoint or what you don't prefer. Your eyes take care of that for you. That's like with a restaurant, Rhonda. Do you ever go to a restaurant and look at the menu and say, excuse me, sir. So the chicken Parmesan, what does that smell like? How about the oysters? What's that scent? Do you need to do that?
No.
Why? Because you're going to smell it when it come out. You know if that joint don't smell right.
I know.
Like if you go in and you like, oh my God, you don't have to list smell when you're talking about the food you want to eat.
Yep.
Because it's going to hit your nose and you're going to know.
You're going to know what's up.
You're going to know what's up.
Yep.
It's the same with attraction when it comes to dating. Like you don't have to list what you're looking for from an appearance standpoint. Your eyes going to see.
Yes, that's
and it's going to let you know
right then and there
if that's what you like or what you don't like.
Yeah. And if you're visually impaired, this isn't a thing. So you don't even have to worry about that.
But the thing is like taking the focus off of that, because it has proven that just because you are attracted to someone does not mean that they are the person for you. That's not the end all be all. That's something that is important and is definitely necessary, but it's not the prerequisite for finding your partner.
Can't be. It just can't be. And that's a lesson that I honestly wish I learned younger. So if you are listening to this and you are 21, 22, again, not suggesting that you should date someone you're not attracted to. I'm suggesting that we're not making serious decisions about being together just because you all look good together. Okay. Like we've got to advance it. I know it seems like duh, but it's just not. It's not duh, because truth be told, some of y'all, even some of you in up and older age, you still picking like that. You're still picking like that. And then you're like, but he's not this, he's not that, he's not smart, he don't have a car, he blah, 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 blah. But he look good and he do it to me. Sex real good. Y'all still, that chokehold is still on your bad. Okay. So if you knew, we would not still be hearing about those types of situations. Okay. Moving on. Taking breaks without quitting. When I say I struggled to write this because this speaks to me very loudly, like struggled to write this. My therapist from years ago, I was venting about like, oh, dating, and I'm just gonna take a break. She's like, okay, talk to me about what do you do during a break? I'm like, I'm just not gonna talk to anybody. Like, I'm done. I'm not gonna this. I'm not gonna that. I'm sick of them. And she's like, I mean, okay, like I get that you're frustrated and all of that, but like while you were out there, did you meet everybody? Like, did you date the whole pool? Were you introduced to every single person that's in the pool, or this is just a few folks, right? And I was like, yeah, but it just feels like everybody you've talked to. There's still so many more people that you haven't engaged with, that you haven't talked to. There's still so many more people in this world. And I know, yes, sometimes in your neighborhood, in your community, it is maybe a limited amount of folks. But it's 2026. Like, we all have leaps and bounds of access today. So they aren't everyone. So while I understand if it's making you adjust how you approach things, like if you are being hardened and you're not being your normal kind self, sure. But you can't get stuck in that, because then it just becomes quitting. Now you can't even win the race because you won't even come to it. You won't even put yourself in it. Even if you're in third place, you're in third place. But if you didn't race at all, you can't chart. You're not on the board at all. And that's not what we want when it comes to this. So again, I get it because I've been there, and I have to tell myself like, nope, you are not. You are keeping your foot on that gas. Now, some days it's going to be to the floor. Other days you're going to cruise, but you're not going to stop driving the car. You got to stay in the driver's seat for sure.
Yeah. You know, always my brain works in like stories and the cliches and all that stuff. And metaphors. I might have metaphors, all that. Huh?
We got a sports one coming?
No, not a sports one. And I think I might have told this story before, and I heard it from somewhere, but I can't remember where. But basically there were two men who were chopping wood 9 hours a day.
Okay.
And one man would leave every hour in the middle of the day and come back, but he would be the one that would chop the most wood out of the two.
Okay.
So after a few months, the guy who stayed the whole 9 hours said, where are you going for that hour? And he said, to sharpen my axe. Mm. And I think that that's the true definition of taking a break but not quitting.
Yes.
Is that you come back sharper in the moments where you're taking breaks. Because the guy staying the whole 9 hours is typically the person, if we equate that to dating, that gets burnt out, blows up. I don't want to do this anymore, especially when you see somebody who seems to be taking it a little bit easier than you, but is having more success at it.
Yes.
Right. So it's important to take the time to refresh, replenish, rejuvenate.
Yes.
So that you can be your sharper version of yourself, you know, when you come back from that.
Yeah. Don't take your breaks, y'all, but don't quit. And then last but not least, like, be honest about if you're ready. Be honest. It just goes into the first one, which was like getting clear about what you want. But like, be honest about being ready. If you're not, you're not. Honestly, if you don't even want it, that's okay too. But like, we've got to stop lying to ourselves or letting the pressures of, you just come off of a holiday stretch. You know that feeling. Well, you don't maybe anymore, but this is the singles list. Y'all, we talking, it's us. You come off that pressure of when you gonna, why hasn't it? Where is it? You know, and even, you know, I'm not being shady, because sometimes in married couples, it's now families. It's, you know, when you guys gonna have kids, you know, it's pressures that sometimes come from other people that push us into being ready for something that we may just not be ready for. And like, you have to be able to stand on your square and be 10 toes down about, this is something that I just don't want right now. And it's my life and I get to make the decision about it. So if you're not ready, the last thing you should be doing is being out here playing around with people who are, because you're just leaving a wake of mess behind that. And that ultimately doesn't feel good if you're a person of good moral compass and you have good integrity. But if you are ready, great. Do the work. We starting back to the top of the list. Just if you're ready, cool, be ready and do the work, because when it happens, the last thing you want to do is either not recognize it or fumble it because you thought you were ready, but then it came and you were like, oh, shuffling. The last thing you want is to not be ready when God is giving you this blessing, because your blessing could easily be somebody else's blessing very, very, very easily. So yeah, just be honest about being ready.
Yeah. Sometimes you know that mentally, but other times you have to go out and experience things to realize that you're not ready.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me in property management, where Rhonda and I both met. I have typically done like new developments and new what we call them, lease ups, essentially. And no matter how, well, I would say this is that every single unit that gets delivered has to be tested and passed in order for it to be accepted by the property management company.
Yeah.
However, even with all that being said, I'll tell people through experience, you're going to have a few leaks, a few like washing machines ain't hooked up right, or dishwashers leaking, because until somebody actually experiences it and lives in it, you don't really know. No matter how many times you run the water a little bit, you run this and that, like it had to be lived in a little bit to know like where the true holes are, if it was truly ready for delivery and for somebody to live in it. And I think that we experience that sometimes. And sometimes you can just look at things or evaluate yourself and be like, you know what, I'm just not ready. But sometimes you do feel ready and you do feel fine, but then you have to experience some things and you realize, oh, that thing kind of triggered me a little bit. I don't think I'm ready for this. Or, you know, oh, I experienced that, and the way that happened, I don't think I'm ready to go that deep into that thing quite yet, based off of, you know, what I've already experienced. So don't be fearful of going out and doing things, and also give yourself grace to understand like, hey, sometimes I might think I'm ready. I'll go out, but then it's okay for me to, even if I told the person, yeah, I'm ready for this, after going through the process, being like, actually, you know what? I'm not ready.
I'm not ready. Let me go back to the drawing board. Let me go back to the drawing board. Okay, let's move on to couples.
Okay.
Drake got some good ones on here. Okay, so because y'all got work to do too. We always all have work to do. Improving communication and not just your commitment, because you're together, right? Like you do, I think, have to renew your commitment to the relationship. But for the most part, like you said, that's taking care of itself. We're married. Yeah. We're clear on that. But what inside of that marriage is going to constantly move us forward? And you especially, but we talk a lot about effective communication. How do we improve upon that? How do we start having more effective communication and not just talk?
I think if you look at it outside of relationships and say, how do we improve our communication if we're trying to learn a new language, right? They say immersion is one of the best ways to do that, right? Okay. So living among the people who speak the language and observing and listening, understanding the nuances. So number one, that's the best way of bettering your communication in your relationship and in your marriage. Become fluent in your person's language. What do they speak? How do they take criticism? You know, how do they improve on things? Like, notice how your person operates. Like, how do they receive certain information? At what times are the best? What moments are the best? What's the best delivery? What other things should we be doing, you know, while I'm trying to deliver this message to you to communicate properly? I think most of effective communication and relationship really boils down to learning your person. Yeah. And then it's also being patient. Patience is such a huge part of communication, because in relationships, you're not communicating just to tell somebody something. You're communicating for change action. Yeah. And change action takes time, right? So it's like, if I was just saying, let's say I hired a cleaner, right? And I'm like, hey, you missed a spot. Can you clean that part of the floor? That's pretty straightforward. Like, I need you to do that. But if you're talking about with a partner, like, hey, I don't like when you leave your drawers on the floor, or, hey, I feel like you need to be better at managing money. That's communicating, hoping for a changed action. So when you're communicating that, it's also about implementing patience to understand that it's going to take some time for this action to change.
Yes, for sure. And that just spirals straight into the next one, which is choosing growth over comfort. Like, again, commitment when you're partnered, and my experience with it is okay, but I've never been married. So I think that creates a whole different level of comfort. Am I right about that? Like, once you like, we are married. Like, for many, especially those who want it, you kind of feel like it's a little bit of a finish line, right? Because it's something you worked yourself up to. It's like, okay, I checked off that life thing. I got married. Done. Check. It is a bit of a check, but it just flips the page to a new list. And that new list includes things that you want to you always want to be growing to be better, and certainly better individuals, but really like better partners. And that could be extending to partners in parenthood. That could be extending to taking care of your family. You get married. That means if your parents are in your life or your loved ones are in your life, they're getting older just like you. What does that look like, right? For this, are we growing and setting up money so that if we do have to move mom to somewhere, or in 10 or 15 years, we have to, my dad is going to have to come and live with us because we've known that he's got this thing. All of that is about growth and preparation. And some of those conversations are uncomfortable. Some of even those situations are going to be uncomfortable, but it'll only make you better if you choose to do it and do it together, like growing together into these things. Nothing feels better than like accomplishing something that like you both set your mind to, like, or you didn't even think you were going to be able to do this. Like, I know, as much as I do not want to live without my mother, I don't want to deal with that day. But in my mom's mind, that day is going to come. And I can't tell you right now how I'm going to deal with it. But what I know for sure is I will. And that accomplishment, like that will be an accomplishment that I will be able to usher her needs through that. I will be able to talk to you just like I'm talking to you right now one day. The day that it happens, of course not. I will feel like am I supposed to live in this world without my mama? I'm going to feel like that.
Yeah.
But once you get to the other side of something, and then doing that with like the love of your life, the person that you chose to be in partnership with, it's like, damn, we did that. We doing this. Like, growth look at us.
Growth is good for a relationship. I think of it kind of in three different ways. So one is there's more questions for you. Because I think when it comes to married couples, it's things that you have to talk about together. So it's better framed as a question a lot of times. So it's like, what does growth look like for both of us? Because it's important to understand that when it comes to growth in a relationship, even goals in a relationship, some people have completely different ideas of what that means or what that looks like. And the next thing is, how do we achieve that growth? Because I can tell you from personal experience, you can agree on a goal, but have two completely methods on how to get there. And that could disrupt and break apart your relationship, right? Because morally, somebody might not agree with one method, or you feel like we don't have the resources or the risk tolerance. You don't have the risk tolerance to go about this method of growth like the other person does. So it's uncomfortable conversations that you have to have. But one thing too that I realized that has to happen in a relationship, and maybe this applies to singles too, but sometimes you just got to grow up.
Yeah.
Like, we all elevate from, elementary school to middle school to high school to if you become a college student, young adult to adulthood. But there has to be conscious decisions to be like, I am now going to move in an adulthood like an adult, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to have to, call my mom every 5 seconds to be like, what's my social security number? Who's my doctor again? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, especially in marriage, it's like we have to grow up at a certain point and grow into this adulthood and this true partnership, like to depend on each other, to know what's actually going on in our home and with our family and with our spouses and with our kids. Like, we have to grow up and start acting like adults. Check the mail. And the thing that sucks as an adult is that there ain't nothing good ever in the mail. I feel like it's like you scared because it's like it's a bill, it's something, to where before you were younger, you get checks for birthdays. Yeah, grandma said. Adulthood, it ain't exciting to check the mail, but you got to go down and do it. Like, you got to do it. You got to grow up.
You do. You got to grow up. That's so simple, but so good, so powerful. My gosh. Next one, repairing instead of avoiding conflict. It feels good not to fight, right? Don't nobody really want to have to bump heads. Nobody's like, you know what, today we're going to have an argument. I'm into that. I feel like having a little disagreement with my person. But if you're doing it right, because there is a right way to bump heads. There is a right way to do conflict in your relationship, and it's something that's going to happen. So there's no need to run from it, because no matter how aligned you are, no matter how much you think the same or want, you're going to disagree about something. It could be the smallest things. It will likely be bigger things if you're married and you've grown up. But you do not want to avoid it, because it just goes into what we were just talking about. If you all face it and do it together, excuse me, you'll feel so accomplished.
I think sometimes conflict gets a bad rap because I think it's such a pivotal part of change. Like when you think of all the major, let's just take it out of relationships and you think of society, right? And all of the major advancements and changes that we've had, it's come typically after wars or times of conflict.
Yes.
And in human nature, there's good and bad things, right? But from a relationship standpoint, there are moments to where it can get very intense and very challenging. And you could have some feelings towards the person that you're with that, you know, you don't want to feel, they don't want you to feel, and isn't the best to be feeling. But typically, from experience in my relationships, we've come out the best after those moments, and it's really pushed the relationship forward. So that's why I think the repairing part is such an important piece of this.
Yes.
Is that the conflict a lot of times is going to be challenging to avoid. Like you're going to have things, you're two completely different people, emotional people, dealing with your own pressures, some that you share with your partner, some that you don't share with your partner. So they will never understand. Sometimes they're hitting a button they're not even intending to, not even knowing that it's a button that they are hitting at the time that they're hitting it. And they just get the volcano eruption, even though that's unintended. But the repairing part is the most important thing. Is like, how do we come back from this? But what's also important when it comes to repairing, and I'll take it back to like the world and how wars and stuff are fought, is we saw it once, but it wasn't nearly to the level of where we are now as far as nuclear weapons and nuclear war, right? Like now in this day and age, although if you wanted to truly win a war, you could drop a nuclear weapon or a nuclear bomb. Most countries typically stay away from that because it's considered a nuclear option for a reason, that if you launch your nukes, they launch their nukes and we all blown up.
All done.
Right?
Everybody's
so
done.
It's even in the midst of conflict, right? First, there's ways to handle it. You take the diplomatic route, right? Nobody has to lose their life. No missiles fired. But we're definitely, no matter how bad, the conflict gets, not going to do the nuclear option, because then it's hard to repair, because you got to think about after this conflict, we have to repair and rebuild. So you'll even see that with a lot of wars, certain cultural areas they won't do, or they only bomb strategic areas of like, you know, production or manufacturing, and not like city centers and all those things, because you're going to have to repair at some point, right? So it's like, even as you're going through conflict, making sure that you're not saying irreparable things. Like you can't, doing things and saying things you can't come back from, because then that's defeating the purpose. But I've seen the benefits of going through conflict, and it's not, and the thing about it, I'll say too, is that it's not this intended, very conscious version of conflict. Is that we approach something in our relationship and I believe something and you believe something different.
Yes.
It's not, let's fight. It's like, I believe this strongly, you believe this strongly, and it results in conflict.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's just how it comes about. That's how it manifests, our difference of opinion and our emotions behind it. But I said this in another reel, and I think it may have went viral, had a lot of views on this show, is that like, I'm more interested when I'm evaluating a partner in how you go about solving problems, how you go about repairing, you know, things. Do you take accountability? Am I sorry? Like, all those things matter more than just, you know, all the other superficial things that people talk about in relationships. So the conflict is good, but as you said, the repairing part is what truly brings it all together to make it worthwhile for your relationship.
So good, man. Just bump heads with the solution in mind, right? Like while you're going through that process, keep the solution in mind. What is it going to take to fix this? What is the repair process going to be based on it? What if I do this? What's that cleanup going to look like on the back end? How are we going to You really have to think about that. That is like priceless advice. Priceless advice. And the last one for our couples is being very intentional about time, about appreciation, and about affection. Like, I think these are things that the singles, because a lot of times we're in discovery, we're in that newness where the euphoria makes all of those things like come with ease. Like, it's like, oh, this is a new thing. We spending so much time. We were just talking to Bree, her mama, and she's dating, and it's like they're spending so much time together. That new love, it automatically produces that because you don't live in the same house. You may not even live in the same city. So when you're together, your time feels like very valuable, or you're not overly, but you're super affectionate because, again, it's new. It's like, think about, you get a new toy, you play with it all the time. You have that toy now for 6 or 7 months. It's still like your favorite. It's still the thing that you really, really like. But because it's right there and it's not at your cousin's house, I mean, it's always there and available to you. You may not spend as much time with it. You may not show it as much affection. You may not use it as much because it's there. That thing happens sometimes in marriages and in relationships where like the person's there. So you're like, no, they know I love them. Come on, we together. Like we here doing this thing together. But you do have to remember to like be intentional about saying, I appreciate you, or I love you, or let's sit down and do this together, or let's get out of the house and like go on a date. I do believe that dates tend to slow down when you're married for a multitude of reasons. Higher overhead, like, like it's lots of reasons why that could happen. Also, you see each other every single day, 9 times out of 10. So you're like, why do we have to go out to see each other? Like, I see you in the house. But there's a certain energy that happens when you go on a date. And this doesn't have to be elaborate, crazy expensive. You're just, again, changing that environment. So you're getting a different version of that person. Watching your wife, which I'm sure, like most men, you're like, why is this taking so long? I'm sure that most guys feel this way about their partner getting ready. But if you just sit back and watch sometimes the excitement that goes into that, like she getting dressed, but it's like, oh, wait, this dress, should I wear it with these shoes? Or like, I like my hair up. Or you notice that she's doing her hair in the way that you like it because she's very excited about the fact that he taking me on a date. Are we going out tonight? That brings just about, again, these euphoric feelings that new love naturally finds. But old love or concrete love or solid love, you don't always see those glimmers. And it's likely because you're not being intentional about those types of things. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's definitely tough to remember to do those things. But I would say no matter how great something is, if it becomes your norm, you will take it for granted.
That's right. Human nature.
No matter how great it is, how beautiful it is, how amazing it is, how well it treats you, what it does for you, no matter how well it tastes, right? If it's a particular type of food, because I think we've all been there before, right? You had at one point, this type of food was a treat, right? And a delicacy for you because you couldn't necessarily maybe afford it or had access to it. Yeah. But then as you grow in life, you could eat it more regularly and then it loses its special thing that it was, right? Yeah. For me, that was the Japanese steakhouse cooking in front of you. That was a birthday thing for me, like every birthday, and I would look forward to that. Now we got one up the street and we order takeout from it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
please don't throw that shrimp over here, man. Put it in the box. I'm going to my house.
You know what I mean? It's just with anything, no matter how amazing it is, once it becomes our norm, we just don't view it the same. And from my experience, snapping back out of that is when you kind of experience something different at times, and you have a certain level of appreciation for it.
Yeah.
So not saying that you go out and, do something with another woman or another man when you're in your marriage or anything like that. But I think first, space helps, right? Like separating, leaving the house, hanging out with friends. Cause you don't know how many times my wife and I come back from hanging out with friends and be like, woo,
Couldn't wait to get back in here with you.
I'm trying to tell you, it's rough out here for these people, dog. Like, I'm so thankful. Right. Like, no, it's serious. You look out and you hear it in the conversations, or like, I would like to think my wife and I are both two attractive individuals, but getting approached by certain people and how they approach and the manner in which they approach, and it's just like, whew, man, like it's a certain level of appreciation. So I think space. I was reading something that talked about how people feel like closeness isn't always the best thing for your relationship, right? Having space and having mystery is appealing, because even if you think about people who step out and on their relationships and they, entertain other people, the attraction is the mystery. Right? That's really what it is. It's not that person even looks better than their person. It's just they kind of have this thing. They're used to it. Know. They don't know what that thing is. So it's alluring. It's attractive. It's different. So creating mystery in your relationship through having some separation in certain things that you're doing allows space for that attraction and that appreciation to begin to grow back in your relationship.
That's such a good spin on that, for sure. We want y'all to stay together, right? If you have a happy, healthy relationship, we want you to stay together. But most people who do will tell you it's work. Like we said earlier, it is daily work, or it's very consistent work that requires really, really strong effort, and that really goes for both groups. If you don't want love and you don't have love, skip it all together, right? Like skip it all together. I do want to go back to something you said earlier before we close this out with some good takeaways. You were talking about inquiring around why you showing your work, like why you want what you say you want. I was having a conversation with someone that I love very much, and she was saying that I don't want marriage. And she said that for a long time, since she was 10 years younger, she's been saying that. And so I'm like, so many other things in her life have changed and grown. So, sometimes you say you don't want something and then later you find out you do. So it just made me want to know, why? Not out of judgment, because I believe if someone says they don't want it, they don't want it. But I'm like, I'm just curious why, show me your work as to why you don't want marriage. And when she began to tell me, it was about a specific person. She does not want to marry that person. She doesn't. I was like, so I was expecting answers around I don't want to be tied financially to someone. I don't want someone to live in my space. I really like having my own stuff. It was all of the answers were about the person. So I said, okay, so let's say they were this, they were that, they had this, all these things you don't like, and they asked you to marry them. Would you say yes? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So showing your work and going back and working through it. That's why I say I want you all to do it with a friend, because sometimes you're saying things to yourself and you think they make all the sense in the world. But someone that is thoughtful, that's a good friend to you, can do that type of thing where you inquire okay, cool. But why? What's your reason? All for that to just become well, damn. It was a nice aha moment even for her. Damn, I do actually want marriage. I just want the right marriage. I want a healthy marriage. I don't want to be legally tied to someone that is good for this situation, but wouldn't be good for that situation.
That's an interesting point. A lot of people, when they say they don't want something, it's not that they don't want it. It's they don't believe they have access to it.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's a good point. And figure it out. If your answers are some of those other things we said, then you're probably right. Because getting married is a financial connection. It is a legal connection. It is a lot more than just a spiritual, romantic heart to heart connection, it does absolutely involve other things that you may not be willing to sacrifice or risk. But if your answers align there, then I would probably believe you. But if you get to talking to me about the person that you're dating, that tells me it has nothing to do with the institution of marriage. It's everything to do with the person you're dating. The person you're dating. So take inventory. So we wanna give a word that represents our love, our love intention, not our love resolutions, but our love intentions this year.
And we're going to show our work.
We're going to show our work. I'm into that. I'm very much into that. You want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
So my word for 2026.
Yes, your word for 2026.
And this might be intentional. This might be cheating, but it's intentionality.
Show your work.
Well, actually, I'm going to change it because that's in the question.
Okay.
And I'm going to get more intentional with my answer.
Do it.
Love is my word for 2026.
You trying to get bonus points. Dre trying to get bonus points. I like it. Why?
So I'm going to get a little spiritual a little bit when it comes to this.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But I remember going to church a few weeks ago, and there's these two normal pastors that preach at the church. However, it was a different pastor that preached this Sunday. And I have to say, it's by far in a long time and no shade to him, I felt like one of the most boring messages that I had heard. But there was something that he said in there, but I was still paying attention. There was something he said in there that kind of triggered something in me. So for those who don't know, I grew up in a Christian school. Like I had classes that were Bible verses and memorizing all that stuff. So you hear these things in the Bible that talk about love and what that means. Tells husbands to love their wife. It tells you that God loves you and love others. And there is a passage in the Bible that says what love is, right? Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not boastful. Love is not, all these things, right? But then for me in my life, where I'm at, everything's about simplifying. I'm so busy. I have a lot going on. How do I make my life easier? And I know that I can dig into the Bible and learn, read all these verses and all that, but how do I simplify it? And the Bible actually does that for you. It says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, your mind. But then it says the second command is like it, love your neighbors as you love yourself. Yeah. Right? And I'm like, I've heard that all my life, but basically it's saying everything could be boiled down to these two things, right? Love God, love your neighbors as you love yourself. But then as he broke down the love your neighbors as yourself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been interpreting that completely wrong. Because I've been thinking love your neighbor as yourself means do unto others as you want them to do to you. But we don't treat ourselves good all the time, do we?
We don't.
So if how we treat ourselves is the standard in which we're choosing to treat others, that doesn't mean we're treating others right all the time.
Yeah.
Because we don't even treat ourselves right all the time, right? But when it says love your neighbors as you love yourself, then you go back to what it says about love.
Yeah.
Which is love is patient, love is kind. Before you love anybody else, love yourself.
Yeah.
Are you patient with yourself?
Are you kind to yourself?
Are you kind to yourself? Love does not demand its own way. Love is not irritable. It keeps no records of being wronged. Are you keeping records with yourself of all the things you've done wrong and holding guilt because you feel like you're not deserving of something? Yeah. Are you irritable with yourself? Like, are you being jealous? Like, love at the end, it says love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures every circumstance. Are you giving up on yourself?
Yeah.
Are you hopeful for yourself? Like, you have to it's saying to love yourself like this and then love other people in that way.
Yes.
So when I say like 2026 is about love, it's first starting with choosing to love myself like that. Give myself patience. Treat myself kindly.
Yep.
Don't look at all the things I did wrong and build up guilt and feel like I'm not deserving of certain things because I made bad decisions in my life previously. It's like, I'm always going to stay hopeful with myself. I'm always going to remain faithful with myself. I'm always going to endure whatever to show I'm deserving of love for myself. And then I can then display that to the people around me. So now I talk to my wife whenever I'm doing something and maybe she's getting on my nerves and I'm like, Love is patient. Love is kind. Love doesn't get irritable. Like love. And when I'm dealing with people in my interactions at work, love is patient. Love is kind.
Yes,
love isn't irritable. Like love always keeps faith. Like keeps no records of wrong. And it talks about love rejoices when the truth wins out. Like these are all things. Like love is what I'm focusing on. Properly loving myself and properly loving those around me. And then when it comes to my faith, everything else flows from that. Yeah. So if I do that and just focus on that every single day, then not stealing, not killing, not committing adultery, not lying, all those things just happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So love is my word for 2026.
That was so good, Dre. Sheesh. I should have went first. Damn, that was so good. Like, oh, so good. I'm stealing that for sure. Maybe like Q2. I got to start with Q1 with my own group, but that was really, really good. My word for 2026 when it comes to love is abundance. And in some ways, swear, like it was my word before you said this, but in some ways it ties into exactly what you're talking about. I know that I'm a person that loves out loud. Therefore, I require to be loved out loud. I need a love that is enthralling. It'll engulf me, like not intoxicate me, but engulf me. I need to feel the love. And I want to get that love, but the only way I can really get that love is to like be abundantly loved now, like before this person even comes along. I don't want them to see or get a version of me that doesn't feel like I really love me. And listen, I do love me, but keyword's on really. Keyword is on really. Like, do I really love me? Am I really abundantly giving any all of the love that I do have to give right now? I have room to give it to my friends more. You know, I had Friendsgiving and I had a blast, and yes, we had fun. But one of the things that I said to y'all was like, this was my I miss you party, right? This was really wasn't just about because it's Thanksgiving. It wasn't just about let's put on cute clothes and play some fun games. It was a love letter to my friends that like, I'm bringing you all together in this moment because I've missed you. And this was the best way that I knew how to do it because I missed that thing, or I wasn't able to come and go to dinner with you for this, or I hadn't checked in as much. Like, so I want to give out like abundant love because I do believe that what you put out, you get back. And what you give to yourself, you wield that into you. So I just want to love any and everything as abundantly as I can because that is the love that I want to usher into my life. I want big, bright, happy, joyful love because I know that's the kind of love that not only do I need, it's that kind of just like makes you feel really good. And like, I want to feel really good. And when people feel loved, like truly loved, like I said, really loved, they feel really good. Like you can see it. It's on them. Like, you hear the saying all the time, like you want to know how good a man is, look at his wife, right? Like that, if she seems to be glowing, bubbly, he's him. He's a man. He's setting it. So I believe that about all types of relationships. Like I know that you have great parents because of you, not because I've ever spent a significant amount of time with your mom and dad. I see the result of what they did. And that tells me like, damn, you came from, and I'm sure it was a village, but those foundational people, they did their thing. I want when he sees me to be like, damn, she got good friends. She got a family. She loved her podcast. She loved whatever it is that she does. She just seems like a loving person. And that will make him want to be like, I'm getting in on that. I'm getting, I think I can add. If that's what she get, I think I can add to that. So it's all about abundance for me in 2026 when it comes to love.
Love that.
Yeah, it's a good synergy.
So kind of,
good synergy. Really good synergy. We it's been a minute, but one thing about us, it's like riding a bike, baby. We're gonna get right into it. So we want to hear what your word is. Please share it with us. Take this serious. Post it in the comments on YouTube, but also like tweet us, post it on Instagram, tag us in it. We want to see and share what love word you're picking for yourself for 2026. Again, we're setting intentions, and we're not making resolutions. We're setting intentions.
Yeah.
And we also want you to show us some love, like a lot of it. So make sure you follow us on socials, but also leave us a 5-star review. We need that. We need that. Like we need it abundantly. Okay. Like overwhelm us with your loving words about how much you love the show. But I'm on social media at Ronnie Cakes.
Dre Smith.
And that Relationship Restored. We'll see you guys next time.
See you.